And we're back. Thank you for joining me for part 3 of box 6 of our 45 RPM vinyl records. And we're starting off with a trilogy of The Who. We've got Long Live Rock here. But this is from the movie soundtrack, The Kids Are Alright. So I don't believe this is the original version of the song. It's probably a live version. And the B-side of that being My Wife, also taken from the Kids Are Alright soundtrack. And I have the DVD right here. Figured I'd just give you a quick glimpse of that since I got it here handy dandy. We'll look at the whole thing in detail in another video when it's more appropriate and we're looking at DVD releases. But I just want to show you that. I was looking at that trying to see if it was going to tell me whether or not they were live versions or studios, but being a documentary and having a lot of live clips, I'm betting that those are live versions, even though they're not noted as such on the 45. Moving on, our next one here is Pinball Wizard. And the B-side to Pinball Wizard was Dogs Part 2. I don't really recognize that as a Who song, so that's kind of interesting. It says previously released, so this is a reissue 45, by the way, because they both sides say previously released. But still a good song to have. Actually, when they first came out, they probably looked more like this one, more on the Decca label. Doctor Doctor, I believe this is an original release 45 for that song by The Who, with the B-side being Pictures of Lily, which I think Pictures of Lily is an older song than Doctor Doctor, so that's interesting as well. So, moving on, we've got an epic sleeve here with an epic release of an epic band, Boston, A Man I'll Never Be. And what was on the B-side of that one? Don't Be Afraid. And they were both from the Don't Look Back album, so that's the second album. Sounded a lot like the first. I liked both the first and second albums quite a bit. And then here we've got the Cars doing some Gimme Some Slack from Panorama, which was not my favorite Cars album. I thought the first two were great, and I thought this one was kind of a dip down in quality. And Heartbeat City was coming back, but the B-side of this one is rather interesting. It's a song called Don't Go to Pieces, which was not on the album. It was a non-album B-side, and they used this as the B-side on 2 different 45s. There were 3 45s from that album, and this was the B-side off of 2 of them. And it is clearly marked the B, by the way, but I know that's a non-album track, and it first came out on CD on their anthology release. So you can get that track on a CD now. And then here's a Hall of Fame, so obviously it's a reissue, not the original, but Janis Joplin doing Mercedes-Benz. And, I like Janis okay. She was kind of not my thing really at the time, but the later years I grew some appreciation for her. And the B-side of that being Cry Baby. That's marked as being from Pearl. Mercedes-Benz was also from the album Pearl. So, there you go. And, funny, following up the Cars with Mercedes-Benz. That just kind of dawned on me there. And then here we've got Atlanta Rhythm Section doing Do It or Die. I really did like the Atlanta Rhythm Section there in the late 70s. They did a lot of really good stuff. This was 1979 for this one. And the B-side being My Song. Don't know that one as well, but definitely know Do It or Die, and you still hear it once in a great while on the radio. And next up, we've got I Go Crazy When He Looks in Your Eyes, Paul Davis. I'm not sure if this is a one-hit wonder. I couldn't tell you another Paul Davis song, but 1977, I Go Crazy was a big hit song. And the B-side of this is Reggae Kind of Way. Interesting. Think it sounds like reggae? Probably. Alright, up next, we've got the Police doing King of Pain. Might be a repeat. I'm trying to pull out ones that I remember being repeats, especially some of them like Joe Walsh's Life's Been Good, where I had one copy in just about every box that I get. So I'm trying to pull out some of the duplicates, but if I'm not sure, I'm leaving them in. I'd rather show you a 45 2 or 3 times than not show it to you at all, especially if it's a different label. And sometimes, I know the label looks different, and sometimes I'm not entirely sure. So when in doubt, I leave them in and we cover them again. So here's the Police's B-side, Someone to Talk To. Next up, Journey, Any Way You Want It. And that's not the same song as the Kiss song, which was a remake, by the way. That's a different song altogether. But the B-side of that, When You're Alone, It Ain't Easy. Looks like we got a little bit of something on there, but probably clean off all right. And at that point, it's in the dead wax, so it really wouldn't matter a whole lot, as long as you caught that needle before it hit it. Here's a good one, Jay Giles Band doing Centerfold. And whoever had these, as you've seen a couple of the previous ones, had some X's. They kind of marked their A-sides, I think. That's off of Freeze Frame. And Rage in the Cage being the B-side on that, which was also off of Freeze Frame. I know it says A, but it also says A there, and Centerfold was most definitely the A-side on that. You still hear Centerfold on the radio quite a bit, I do believe. I don't listen to the radio except for when I have to be exposed to it at work or shopping in stores, but yeah, I still get exposed to it from time to time. Alan Parsons the Alan Parsons Project, doing Games People Play in the Middle of the Night. And the B-side of that one was the Ace of Swords. Jeez, spit it out. The Ace of Swords. I really liked the Alan Parsons Project. To me, they were kind of psych. It was something that I liked to listen to when I was having fun back in the day. But yeah, Alan Parsons Project was great. I liked a lot of their stuff. I guess they're considered progressive. And then this one, technically it's a repeat, but this is a completely different label. This is A&M's Forget-Me-Nots, which was reissues. And Styx doing Renegade. I know we looked at it recently. I think I might have even had a picture sleeve, but the label was different from this one, so that's why we're showing you this one again. And the B-side, Still Sing for the Day, which I believe was the B-side on the original Renegade. Wouldn't swear to that, but they got it marked with an X. That's definitely not the A-side. Renegade was most definitely the A-side on that one. Pieces of Eight. Yeah, that was a pretty good album. I liked Pieces of Eight. So next up, we've got us a Simon and Garfunkel doing Wake Up Little Susie, which was, the Everly Brothers, I believe, originally. It wasn't them. But this is from the concert in Central Park, so this is when they kind of had a brief little reunion and did a live album in 1982. And the B-side of this has Me and Julio Down by the Schoolyard, which was clearly a Paul Simon song. You know it by Paul Simon for sure. But there again, it's a live concert. They did some Simon and Garfunkel songs. They did some Paul Simon songs. They probably even threw in some Art Garfunkel. And I don't know how many covers. I remember that album. I don't have it, but I remember that album, and I know it had quite a few different things on it, not just Simon and Garfunkel songs. So, Daryl Hall and John Oates, which I did like their popular stuff. Never did buy one of their albums, but I did like a lot of their hits, and I Can't Go For That. No Can Do, that one, along with Man Eater. They had some really good songs. And the B-side of that being Unguarded Minute. Don't know that one. So, anyways, moving right along here, we've got Kenny Loggins doing Whenever I Call You Friend, which was a good song. I like some Kenny Loggins. Definitely Danger Zone comes to mind as being a really good song of his, and I do have that one somewhere in the collection. And the B-side of that being Angelique. I'm guessing that's how you pronounce it. Next up, we've got a Starship. So this is, Jefferson Airplane turned into Jefferson Starship, turned into Starship. So they changed their name 3 times, along with quite a number of the members. And it's got Sarah, edited version. So it's clearly not the album version. They even noted as not being. And the B-side of this being Hearts of the World Will Understand, which is not a song of theirs that I recognize. So coming up next, I think this guy was a one-hit wonder, but I wouldn't swear to it. Kenny Nolan doing I Like Dreamin'. Dreamin' Can Make You His. In 1976, that was a popular song that got a substantial amount of airplay, at least where I grew up. And the B-side was Time Ain't Time Enough. Okay. And this is a big jump in different styles here. I really like this sleeve. That's kind of a different, really cool sleeve, isn't it? I try to show you the sleeves. Sometimes I might get in a bit of a hurry and skip over them, but they are repeated so much that I figure eventually, sooner or later, I'll catch it and show you one. But this one takes us back to the days before MTV. Gary Newman, Cars. Here in my car, dun 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 dun. Yeah, that was. They used to play it on PBS. They had a show that played music videos before MTV. And it always started with Carousel by Led Zeppelin. Wah, 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 that song. And that takes me back. Anytime I hear Cars, I always remember that show on PBS. B-side being Metal. And he's not definitely a metal artist, so kind of an interesting title for a B-side for him. So that wraps this one up. Come on back for part 4. See you then.